Okay, you have Juan Carlos, excuse me, not Juan Carlos, Jose and Sons. Hey, you guys here to do the landscaping today?
Gardening.
Gardening? Landscaping is what it's referred to. Yeah, you hear the helicopter outside? It's pretty loud. Sounds like it's flying right over my office. Did you see it?
No, we pretty got here.
Yeah, this is P.O.C. This is the entity amplifying helicopter while they're aware of the fact that they're being documented. They're all three of them, they're all going to federal prison, and they're also going to be deported. That's malice. This is the amplification of helicopter activity. And this is speaking to the life-threatening conduct of an entity that's engaging in the system. The light source is directly above my head, which you've already seen. The entity is doing so with knowledge, real time. That's what I just documented right now. That's called relevant positioning. Jose and Sons is a third party. All of those working under a company name were the same elements of monitoring and the psychotic behavioral pattern of providing more evidence, which is proof of exactly what the target individual is documenting. The entity is stalking by helicopter, which is speaking to the fact that you're group stalking with the state. And then you are also engaged in federal stalking while that entity is engaged in an ongoing system of terrorism, which you are inevitably part of. This is crossing path, using the vehicles, ongoing elements of monitoring. All they're doing is maintaining the elements, as you've also exhibited. The people of the state are crossing path. And this is the same terrorist UPS. You've seen the engineer light bouncing off of a mailbox. You've seen the light source over me at that same entrance, 9:30 in the morning, 5:23 in the evening, acting with the LAPD that is stalking in helicopters and doing so with knowledge of the fact that they're being documented. This is P.O.C. I'm gonna go ahead and document. Hi, how's it going? License plate 27413S3. The same terrorist, he's going to federal prison. All right, this is impunity. This is the terrorist that you see engineer light moving across apartment buildings, across the asphalt. This is demonic pacing. They're going in opposite directions. This is terrorism. They're going to federal prison. That's what they're doing. It's light activity and crossing path, the demonic pacing. And LAPD is crossing path in helicopter via this ongoing demonic activity. And they do this while that's Sangli, who's going to federal prison. They're doing this while they are aware of the fact that they're being documented. That's also relevant to how long that particular demon is going to sit in federal prison. And UPS, you're going to drain the pockets. Jose and Sons doing the same thing, draining the pockets. They're going to be listed as terrorists in the state of California in concert with LAPD, who was engaged in 1053. Immediately as I capture that first video that I'm capturing inside of my office, immediately LAPD amplifies more helicopter activity, and this demon is coming onto the ground to engage in pacing on foot. This is also pacing, walking in the opposite direction. These demons are pacing. Okay, so just want to document this is the iteration of the same exact criminal system. The whole property, including those that just came onto the grounds, everyone is going to federal prison. Jose and Sons is engaged in ceaseless facilitation. Every Monday, they are coming and physically participating in terrorism at the specific environment, which is Alvarado Gardens, in concert with the entity that's living at the crime scene, providing 24-hour surveillance. That's Samuel Rickman crossing path of 1802 number 3. He's going to federal prison. Thomas Waddick, who moved off of the grounds, remains part of the entity. He's going to federal prison. The entity is coming onto the grounds via third party UPS, who you see at this same environment in concert with that same terrorist agency in the middle of the afternoon, where I'm standing here at 8:47 in the morning and I'm standing here at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and you're looking at the impossible that the sun would be over me at that same location at different times of the day. And you're also looking at the concerted conduct of that terrorist that is UPS, who was indeed engaged in monitoring American citizens. With real-time knowledge of the fact that UPS, which is a part of that entity, is group stalking, they come onto the grounds, literally acting in sync with that same terrorist agency, by the way, terrorist organization, but also engaging in that same demonic act of terrorism while they're pacing all around and amongst what are the methods of light activity using their vehicles, moving around. And let me be clear, you've seen the different level of the hues of engineered light. This is an engineered environment. Nothing is the natural environment. There's nothing natural about being present while the entity is heavily documented as engaged in group stalking. And in addition to that, more of those demons came out. The demon with the dog, the demon sitting around. Jose and Sons are literally sitting right here in relevant position while monitoring me while the entity sounds helicopter activity. The demons walk by, as I already spelled out that iteration. Seconds later, at the moment that I end that video at 10:53 a.m., immediately the entity engages in what is louder audible activity by helicopter. I show you the presence of the entity in a helicopter at a great distance, and I'm able to hear that helicopter. Now, the entity is using more than one helicopter, but I want to be clear, that's relevant to what is group stalking, regardless of the distance. And I've also shown you the demonic. When those demons are at the same distance, flying in a circle, as I've shown you, and there, I'm able to hear that. That's speaking to amplification. But it does go without saying the entity is using more than one helicopter and listening at every moment. Everything that you articulate, and then the demon-possessed population engage in more of that. Okay, so these are the ticking time bombs that are, again, a part of the law enforcement agency. That's not a legitimate law enforcement agency. They're group stalking via UPS, group stalking by a landscaping company, group stalking by third parties that are living on the grounds of the property, group stalking by the people of the state that are driving up and down the street, where I have given you a detailed breakdown of what is the same exact pattern of conduct, speaking to their outward demonstration of demon possession. And you are also looking at that while you're seeing what is pacing. These demons are pacing using their vehicles. You see them driving by each other in opposite directions. You see one driving by, you see another one running. You see them sitting in relevant positions, sitting on the vehicle, and the other ones on the opposite side of the parking lot walk to their car. They're engaging in this ongoing demonic pacing, while in the sky space, the LAPD, who are demons acting in concert together, are flying around and surrounding with the sound of helicopter. All of this is relevant to how you're going to analyze the threat posed by the group stalker that's acting in concert with the people. And let me be clear, that same specific actor is coming onto the grounds and acting with real-time knowledge. So that's, again, relevant to the draining of the pockets of UPS, okay? And there is no company owner nor board of directors that's ignorant about what UPS is engaged in and what it's facilitating. And by the way, UPS is not only using this same particular actor, the entity is heavily documented engaging in what is using its commercial airline planes, doing so while you have the same exact specific environment, which is revealing what is specific knowledge. You don't have a coincidence of stalking in the path with your commercial airline planes, UPS, while I'm in an entirely different region, while you have engineer light moving across the surfaces, while your demon-possessed employees are group stalking with the state, okay? And this is documentation that is captured in an entirely different region where UPS is engaging in terrorism in concert, for example, with the terrorist organization, the Ontario Police Department, in an entirely different region. So UPS is making it clear, as you've already seen. You already know that when you're looking at the same location, you can look at the two videos together. Where I'm here at 8:47 in the morning and I'm standing at the same location. The entity is stalking in helicopter, pointing directly to what UPS is engaging in, while those demons wear uniforms, drive brown trucks, and hold packages in their hand. They're engaged in terrorism in the U.S. And they come and engage and reiterate and communicate again an ongoing threat, while they are fully aware of the fact that their criminal engagement in terrorism in the U.S. is being exposed and documented. And that is the true posture, by the way, that such companies such as UPS hold. That's how they feel about your constitutional rights. That's how they feel about your enforcing them. And it's not going to change when they're prosecuted in court and you have the workforce that will be going to federal prison, because I've documented well beyond this African-American demon-possessed third-party group stalker who are acting with Latinos who are demon-possessed group stalking. There is no respecter of any race or whatever your job is. You're looking at the elements, the ongoing environment, and the concerted conduct with the state. Period. All right. But I want you to remember what you're looking at now, because on the opposite side of that federal prosecution, you're going to have what are people who are crying, literally pleading for mercy. And in the same way that the entity is not exhibiting any purpose or a desire to cease to engage in criminal conduct, there is nothing other than the pattern of conduct that's underway. There's nothing, you're not doing anything other than group stalking. And that is what's going to be at the forefront of the mind of the federal court that's going to give justice. When you sit in federal prison for years, when you're deported out of this country after you sit in federal prison, when you're draining the pockets and ceasing to exist as a company. But it will be noted that you're engaged in terrorism, and that includes UPS. And there is no reputation, there is no dollar amount or company worth that makes itself above the law. This is also what is relevant when you're looking at terrorism underway and sponsored, facilitated with what is commercial actors such as Jose and Sons, speaker companies, and what is UPS. Okay, so I just want to make sure I point all that out. It's 11:05. This is an iteration of the P.O.C. The more I document, the more that the audible activity picks up, the more that the pacing conduct. Look at the tape again. You'll see the activity pick up. And this is based on what the demons are following me doing. As I document the demonic, the frenzied psychopaths, they engage in more and more of it. You also see this again as I'm documenting the impossible light activity. The more that I speak to what is their condition, they are indeed demons, the more you see the engineer light bouncing all off of buildings and whatnot. This is terrorism while you're pacing around in vehicles. It's terrorism while you're pacing around in relevant position. It's terrorism while you sit in relevant position, stand in relevant position, live in relevant position, while the entity is stalking in helicopters. You're going to be prosecuted for all of the above. It is again 11:06 a.m. This is the specific environment. Speaker Companies is indeed a third party, and I'm going to prosecute not only for state terrorism, which is group stalking by the state. Speaker Companies is engaged in group stalking, not only by facilitation, but also by direct engagement, and with knowledge of the fact that it is being gathered against Speaker Companies, which are the people of the state, And this is also the same entity that seeks to obstruct justice. And for that, you have what are literally the people of the state identified as speaker companies who are going to federal prison for what I remain subject to in the workplace while they're masquerading as an employer. All right. This is the light source I want you to see that's over at 11. This is the light source right here over. That's me, right over me, outside of the leasing office, and it's 11:06 in the morning. The entity is maintaining a light source here in this position in alignment as though the sun would ever be present, as it is still here as I'm capturing, for example, UPS group stalking 2 hours from now, as I captured on video last week at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and you'll see the entity stalking in helicopter. You'll see the light source right over my head as I stand at this same location, at where I'm standing at 8:47 in the morning, also speaking to what is indeed the specific environment. The sun's not going to be here outside of this window in this position at 8:47 in the morning, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, nor is 11 o'clock. None of this is the sun, especially where you have the whole body of evidence speaking to the maintenance of a light source, which I thoroughly documented, which is under no circumstances seen at any location over this property or in alignment to this window or anywhere near Los Angeles while it remains over the, for example, the roof of the Upland Public Library at 450 North Euclid Avenue in Upland, California. It is June 10th, 2024. This is P.O.C. This is relevant to, again, workplace terrorism, harassment, and sexual violence. That is indeed exactly what you heard. UPS is a sex offender. UPS is a terrorist. UPS is engaged in what is group stalking, which is practicing the demonic. And you need to understand what the companies inside and outside of the U.S., because they are not necessarily American companies. They are on American soil engaging in what is terrorism with the so-called American government. All right, all of that is going to be exposed and turned on its head. But you were talking about what is civil and criminal prosecution, however, when I'm exposing the commercial actors, okay? And this is what Speaker Companies is facilitating. This is what UPS is facilitating. This is what Jose and Sons is facilitating. And you have mom and pop companies like It's a Matter of Justice, It's Sweet Justice. When companies like that, they can't even afford to pay a full salary to their workers, let alone survive a federal prosecution and being exposed for terrorism. They're going to be shipped right back to their place of origin, and they're doing so in concert with the state that's literally providing evidence against them, stalking in helicopter in the unnatural environment, because this is exactly where the light source remains, as I documented on video. And UPS is stalking in concert with that same state using helicopters at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. No, the sun would not still be in this position over the same location, which is captured on video. In addition, you have what is the maintenance of this light source still visible through my bedroom window as I remain on the same property. This is after 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Never is sunlight going to create light appearing upward on the wall. So in other words, all I'm doing is reminding you about the specific environment, and then you see all the demons provide evidence against themselves, which is revealing the mental illness of that corrupt entity that is practicing demonic activity. And this is the criminalization of it. All right, it's P.O.C. It's currently 11:09 a.m.